Nobody's perfect. Nobody's broken. That's one thing. Nobody needs to be fixed. We only need to realize who we are
Mhm.
and be able to feel safe enough that it's okay to be that person.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. One of the examples in my own life, we could go on forever. But one of the biggest ahas for me was I was married twice, divorced both times. One lasted 13 months, one lasted 12 years.
Oh, wow. Have you ever considered that beauty and art are portals to the quantum field? That we access our divinity through expressing our creativity? If either of these questions have piqued your interest, then this episode is for you. Today's guest, Deborah Ann Baker, PhD and LLC, is a best-selling author, award-winning, internationally known artist, facilitator of Revelare retreats and the Abstract Intuitive Impressionism Process. So I am so delighted to introduce you all today to Deborah. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to see what unfolds in this process this morning. So, welcome, everybody.
Ah, awesome. I am excited too and delighted because when you had filled out the information to be a guest, I had started doing research on you and I saw that you were a former therapist or psychotherapist. You have a PhD and you've switched to art and helping women, especially express through art, which I'm such a fan of. I'm not the best creative artist in that realm, so I just admire it so much. And I was wondering, what got you on that path and created that shift in your work?
Oh, my goodness. I could start when I was 6 years old.
Go for it. Start at the beginning.
All right. When I was 6 years old, I had a brand new box of crayons, and we were going to have our first day of art in school, and I was so excited.
Mhm.
We had the instructions to draw trees.
Oh.
And in my mind, I saw all these trees that were glowing and beautiful. And I picked up my purple crayon and
Mm.
I drew trees and trees and trees and trees. And teacher came around to each little desk. And if you can remember, years ago, the desks in elementary school were really tiny, and the teacher always looked like she was 12 feet tall, even though she could have been four and a half feet tall.
Wow.
When she came to my desk, she looked at my drawing and she held it up to the class and she said, Deborah, there is no such thing as purple trees.
Oh.
I was devastated. And
Mm.
I wanted to just, the feeling was just slink down in my desk and go out of the door and never be seen again. I
Mm.
didn't know what I did wrong. I didn't know what, why was she saying that? How could she possibly say that? I was so excited in creating this.
Mm.
So, what happened from that? As a 6 year old child, I didn't know how to express my emotions in words or even try to put the picture together, all the puzzles of like what was going on in my mind.
Mhm.
And so later on, I realized that I made a decision at that point that, okay, you have to stay in the lines, you have to be perfect. You have to do and give back what people want. You have to please people. And
Mm.
so all of these things were in the background of my consciousness. And throughout my life, it played out a story, which is don't be yourself if
Mhm.
you want to be able to fit in into this world. And so I went into counseling and I used art. I was working with cancer patients and families. We used art a lot in what I call throwing down paint, which means you do whatever you want to do. You pick up the colors you want to, and you just express whatever you're feeling at that moment. And as an adult, of course, still going around with misperfectionism and all of these things still operating. What happened is I had a devastating diagnosis of cancer myself. I remember sitting in the doctor's office and he's doing his thing, and I didn't hear him. I just kind of went numb. That feeling of, oh my God, I just don't exist anymore. And so I went through the process of healing. And one day in that process, laying in my bed, doing my focus on healing, and I heard a whisper, go paint,
Ooh.
go paint. And I said, I barely can move. And you want me to get up and get dressed and go downstairs in the garage and dig out my paint? And I was, oh my goodness, all I heard was go paint. So I said, okay. I went down, got out the paints, pulled out a canvas. I said, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. And I looked at the canvas and I said, what is it you want me to do?
Mhm.
And then I picked up black
Oh,
and
wow.
I just started kind of smashing and dabbing and this black. Then I picked up crimson, red, did the same thing. Then I picked up a spot of yellow, and right in the center, I just went a spot of yellow. So then I stood back and I looked at it and I went, oh my goodness, that's a mess. But in reality, it was me. It was me. And it was exactly the emotions and everything that was coming up for me in my healing process.
Oh.
As I stood back, I began to realize the painting was talking to me. I say that as what was happening at the time, but what developed as I continued to paint. Okay, the black and the red, became subtle.
Okay.
And as I was healing and realizing all these things that I had done in my life, all the medals I got in school, getting the PhD, presenting my research, doing the book, developing everything that I did, I still felt empty inside and like something was missing.
Yeah.
When I started realizing that, then my painting became such a joy, such a release, and such a connection. One of the things that I really want to express here is that through this process, I didn't have a name for it, I was just doing it. And what came out of it is I was told the name would be Abstract Intuitive Impressionism. I said, okay. And then I started having a group of women that said, hey, you've been talking about this. Can we do it too? And I said, sure, let's do it. So started off with like a group of 5 women, and we would paint and we would go through this process. And folks would say, this is not just for you. I think everybody should know that this is available and be able to do it. So then I wrote the book. There's no such thing as purple trees. I had to tell my story as part of it. And in the book, I also talk about the process that was developed from that. It's part memoir and part the process.
Hmm.
And then from that, the retreat was born as well. So with abstract intuitive art, you say that you love art and you don't feel that creative in the process. Well, I don't believe that.
Well, let's talk about that and all that. I used to dabble in painting when I was younger, and what threads that came up as you were speaking, I was like, oh, what a theme. So many women, that perfectionist, right? I remember getting a book in recovery like 30 years ago, Little Miss Perfect, and overcoming that perfectionist for different reasons. I don't think that's why I put down my own artistry as such, the way you describe, which really feels like it was so impactful for you. And a driver for what has unfolded. I mean, that painting behind you is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. My mother paints, and that's why when I had gotten your request to do this, I was like, oh, she paints, and one of my sons is an artist, mixed media, but he's like, I'm not going to art school. I don't want them to tell me how to do it because we have that thread of perfectionism that runs through the family line that I'm working on smashing, if you will. It was just lovely that you've done that. And how wonderful in a way that it did lead you to a therapeutic background where you could support people. We don't want to throw everything away that we've learned. You can bring that together, right? What a gift, really, to merge them and marry them. Even though I read on your website and about your work, this isn't psychotherapy type of thing. It's an expression of the soul, but
Right.
have that container if someone's challenged by something as your background. I think that's a gift.
Thank you. Well, as life goes on, we may find ourselves doing something as a hobby or doing something as a career, and then finding out, well, I've reached a pinnacle. I've done everything I could do here. It's time to move on. So you choose something else. And then it says, okay, is that all there is? Oh, let's go do this. Or you play in different playgrounds. And sometimes you don't even realize what the thread is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we're weaving a tapestry
Yes.
of the direction we want to go to. And once we connect fully to our authentic self, to our soul, and we say, Miss Perfectionism, I know you took me on quite a journey, and I appreciate that. And over here telling me that I got to stay in the lines. Okay. I appreciate that you guys were here because you brought me to where I am. And right now, I'm in a place where I can go in and touch base with my authentic self, my soul. I call it divine intelligence. It takes in to me that resonates better than any of my religious background or spiritual background, that it's like weaving the tapestry. It's putting all of the threads together for
Mm.
me.
Okay.
And I got so excited about this, and I realized that I always wanted to teach.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, when we'd go out and play and everybody'd say, what do you want to play? I said, let's play school. And they go, oh my goodness, how could you possibly want to do that? Well, it was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I wanted to teach.
Mm.
And now, with this process, I have so much joy to be able to create a container or hold a sacred space that other women can come into and begin to realize who they truly are
Mm.
and be able to express that through play, because play is a big part of it. And that releases boundaries because
Yeah.
and through art and color and expression and being heard, maybe for the first time.
So what does that look like for someone who hasn't really ever fully been heard or expressed their voice? How does that translate or to paint for someone that might not understand that they can actually be heard in that way? Can you shine a little more light on that?
If you're looking at misperfectionism, will keep you from being your authentic self because you're either with perfection, you try to get it perfect before you even try,
Mhm. Agree.
or you have to put on the mask of this is what they want.
Mm.
I can paint I can paint a tree that looks like a tree, and it has to be perfect. Or once you get in touch with your authentic self and the play comes in and the joy comes in, and you realize that, you know what? Let's break the rules for the first time. Let's cross that line. Let's go into adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you choose a color, any color, you choose it and you put it on the canvas. And then you choose another color, and then you choose another color, and then you step back and you look at it, just like I did in my healing process. That's how it starts. Then you begin to express, okay, so you can paint what Miss Perfection looks like in an abstract form, just like I did with the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Then, with the process of getting in touch in the Revelare retreat, oh, by the way, Revelare is Latin for the great reveal. That's why I chose the name. Going through the process, you get to reveal who you truly are.
Mm.
Through the process of coming together in a safe place and being able to talk with other women who are in similar yet different circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to be heard with your words. And we also use dance. We also have the painting process. We have journaling. I really believe in journaling.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to write about your experiences and see what comes up for you. And then in the evenings, we have a sacred circle where we talk about what we've learned, what we want to get rid of, and how we did. And nobody's perfect, nobody's broken. That's one thing. Nobody needs to be fixed. We only need to realize who we are
Mm-hmm.
and be able to feel safe enough that it's okay to be that person.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. One of the examples in my own life, we could go on forever. But one of the biggest ahas for me was I was married twice, divorced both times. One lasted 13 months, one lasted 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And I never could understand why I didn't feel loved. And it's not that those people didn't love me, it's just that they were in love with the mask.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And when I started to move in either direction from the mask, that's when everything fell apart because I was no longer filling the role. But I didn't realize it going through those processes. I didn't realize that I was the one who wasn't loved by me.
You're just a mirror for you, sounds like.
Right, right,
Ah.
right.
That's pretty powerful. Do you find when women come to your retreats that there's a lot of fear behind the expression or their inability to have done that before? Like someone like myself, I don't really consider myself an artist. You had that fear from your 6-year-old self. Do you find that's a common theme?
There's been some kind of something where somebody has told you it's not right, you didn't do it right, oh, that's not good enough, or whatever. And it doesn't have to do anything with art.
Okay.
It's any time in your life that you had somebody in authority, somebody you trusted,
Yeah.
said something to you and you just shrunk.
Hmm.
And then you start layering with the masks of whatever it has to be, whether not has to be, but whatever you do to protect yourself so that will never, ever happen again.
Right. So the masks are protecting.
Right.
Do you find that working with clients or people that the masks, peeling back these layers to get to that authentic self or that real self takes a long time? Is it quick? What can that look like for a person?
That can get juicy.
Ooh. Oh, juicy. I really love juicy.
In my practice years ago, I would say it would take time.
Okay.
Today, I say it can be instantaneous.
Mm.
And science is kind of catching up with us with consciousness, with the quantum theory. And if you look at, we're the observers, and what we observe in our life, we are creating over and over and over again until we change how we observe it. So if you take a situation where I'm not good enough, so I'm not even going to try, or I'm coming and I'm tiptoeing in, and please don't hurt me. That kind of thing. And then when you actually look at things from where a point of view of where you are now, as opposed to where you were when you made that decision to put on all those masks, the masks come off. And then your point of view changes.
Yeah.
If you can see the side view of your head and you're looking out and you were looking this way, and all of a sudden you have this many possibilities, all of this around, all of the quantum field is going to collapse.
Right.
And so then you have all these opportunities to move forward. And then what entanglement is telling us, quantum entanglement, is we are entangled with our thoughts, with our beliefs, with our actions, with the words we use, by the way we move. We are entangled with that. And so our whole energy field is that, whatever that is, that whole thread, that whole tapestry. And sometimes you need to pull a loose thread out of the tapestry and put it aside so that we could even have a more beautiful tapestry.
Love that.
So does it take time? Yes and no.
Appreciate that.
Because the quantum collapse can happen immediately. Maybe not on the first day of the retreat, maybe on the second day of the retreat. But by the end of the retreat, if you could see the faces, if I took pictures of folks when they came in and when they left, you wouldn't even recognize the same person.
When our energy shifts, it can change our physicality.
Right, right. And one of the things we do in the retreat is you paint. The first painting is where you are now. And then we go through exercises and we paint and we dance and we go through journaling and all this. And the last day you paint where you are now.
Nice.
And so you get to take that home, and that is your talisman or what you focus on. That's the new you.
That's beautiful.
So you come out more empowered.
So dance, transformation, introspection, empowerment, and sounds like some fun and some sisterhood.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. And it doesn't end there, because I have a Facebook community where folks can come in and touch base if they want to touch base, or become a part of that community on an ongoing basis.
I love that.
So there's support there.
So if Deborah is resonating with you, keep that in mind. She has a Facebook community that you can connect with. I think community is so important, and finding the right community for ourselves, because someone who may resonate with you is not the same person with me and Sally down the street. And that resonance matters too. And cultivating our own inner feeling of safety to help us express.
Exactly. You're creating that coherence.
It's lovely. And I think what I have found in my experience that people have trouble with is trusting those feelings of coherence because of the other things that you've talked about earlier. We've been inculcated to not trust ourselves, right? But when we get those hits like, oh, Deborah's someone I would really love to learn from or work with, trust that and keep taking the steps, not dismiss it.
Right, right.
Begin to trust. So thank you for sharing about that. I wanted to ask you, as I keep looking at your purple sweater and you talked about purple tree, and I really appreciate the significance of your story and being 6 years old and how you were told not to draw purple trees. Is there other significance to the color purple for you personally?
The color purple, in the study of rays, that we come in with certain colors and certain rays, I came in with two. So I kind of really set myself up. I came in with pink and blue.
Ooh, okay.
They were the struggles in my life. I could see how I set that up. But when they merge, they become purple.
I love that.
And purple was, I have to say that that 6-year-old loving the color purple and then being admonished for it and then hiding it and then finding it again just meant so much. So that teacher, if she were alive today, I would take her out for coffee and say, thank you for playing that role, because even though I thought that was my devastation, it wound up being a jewel in my crown, so to speak. And so the things that happen to us in our lives are usually the key to the connection, because that's where it's taken us. And my logo is a tree with roots and a golden key in the center of the trunk.
That's beautiful.
And so purple, yes,
Purple and
purple
gold.
means a lot to me, even though I never would buy purple anything in clothing. I wouldn't have anything purple around me at all because I was protecting myself from that feeling.
Mm.
But then discovering it again, and as an artist, you begin to see hues that you've never seen before. I was just looking at a mixing color book, and there are at least 100 hues of blue.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And how you can mix the color blue. And so that's a great metaphor for our lives.
I think it is a great metaphor, mixing the hues, because I work with color frequencies and there's so many of them, right? Beginning to understand that color can help shift perspective. I appreciate you sharing your story about the significance of purple for you as you've been talking. I didn't think of this when I was doing the research, but it reminded me of a couple of children's books, some of my favorites. And one, I watched the movie with my great nephew a few months ago, Harold and the Purple Crayon. And I was just imagining you because I saw the movie on with your purple crayon. And I was like, oh,
Right.
I have two boys that are 18 months apart, and they were at odds a lot when they were younger. And they probably won't appreciate this for a long time coming, but I used to read to them the book, I Love You, the Purplest. It's about a mother that talks to her sons, and I love you because of all the reasons, and you're blue. And the other one, I love you for all these reasons, you're red. Not because I love you more or less, but you're different. And together she ends, I love you, the purplest. I just love the color purple in it. It has a lot of.
Oh, I'm going to have to look for that book.
It's a children's book. I forget who the author is. I loved how you've done that for yourself with your blue and your pink, woven it in, and you radiate this purple out into the world, which is a very high resonating frequency, right? That's beautiful. If anybody's interested in any of that, definitely reach out to Deborah. I looked at your website. You have such beautiful art and you have so many paintings. And I noticed that you could get an iPhone cover with your painting and a t-shirt. Your business and your model has spread, but it's not about business to me. It's about your message and the beauty that is represented in those paintings. You're expressing yourself to the world. It's just very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You touched on consciousness and you were talking on the quantum field. Do you have your own definition or belief in what consciousness is?
I do. And I find that the more I delve into it, the more I don't know. I believe that consciousness is everything, everything, in the sense that what makes me up is a consciousness, and I'm in the sea of consciousness. And if I choose to see life that way, I can choose to be in the flow, or I can choose to be whatever else I choose to be. I believe in a divine consciousness, divine intelligence, where we have access
Mhm.
to anything past, present, and future. And it's what we want to observe.
Okay. Do you find that that is a very different concept that you were raised with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. I was born female at a time where there was a lot of racism. There was a lot of big daddy consciousness.
Mhm.
Women were supposed to support their men, not go out on their own, all that kind of background. So it was definitely something different.
Mhm. I appreciate you sharing that. Are there other things that have happened or things you want to touch on that have helped you over time, in addition to the 6-year-old experience and the playing with the art where you heard go paint, that's helped shift your consciousness and your own awareness?
I do meditate and I do connect, and I connect through dance, I connect through music, I connect through art, I can connect through tasting a strawberry.
Love it.
You bite into it and it is sweet and the juices just run down. I'm also a poet. I have a couple of poetry books. I love haiku.
Mhm.
So
That's beautiful. You're very multifaceted. I love that. I feel like listening to you and having read about you that this could be for all of us, right? You talked about the one lens, but the more we open to spirit or to soul led thing, we become even more multifaceted, or we are already multifaceted, but we have the opportunity to express it more and see other people in that same way. We don't just pigeonhole them as much. I see you nodding.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's awesome. For a lot of us, that's a big flip, a big paradigm shift that we're moving through.
Who actually gives you permission
To make those shifts,
to do anything?
I've come to learn that it's ourselves. But if ourself was the voice in the head that really wasn't ours, who was not letting
Correct.
us do it,
Correct.
that
Correct.
there's
So
some.
once we give ourselves permission, then that's when we begin to see all of the opportunities. We begin to hear the whispers.
Hmm.
For me, it's been always been a whisper. Some people think that when they connect that there's going to be this thunderous voice and it's going to tell you what to do. And in my experience, it's a whisper and it suggests
Okay.
or it shows options. It never says do this in my experience.
Mhm. It's a more of that soft, subtle invitation, that knowing, right? And I like to share with people that when there's any fear attached to it or shoulds, that it's probably not that quiet soul voice when it comes with some of that stuff.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because
You
people
know,
always ask, "Yeah, how do you tell the difference?"
anything that seems negative is not the right voice. Anything that shouts, anything that wants to take control
Hmm.
isn't the right voice.
I love that. I believe that we are moving away from those paradigms of forcing, fixing, fighting, and control. And we see them crumbling around us or the fight for them to stay worldwide right now. But that's shifting. But in order to fully shift it out in the world, don't we first have to shift it internally to
Exactly.
have that
Yes.
ripple out? Yeah.
Yes. There's that idea of what you want to observe. What do you want to be entangled with? What kind of coherence
Mhm.
you want to project
Yeah.
and be a part of? Yes.
What else do you want to be connected to or create coherence with? You have beautiful art, you have the retreat, you have, what did you say? The abstract intuitive impressionism that you work with. Are there other things or are you focused right now on just this?
I'm my passion right now is I want to bring this out into the world.
Okay.
I want to facilitate women coming into their true power.
Mm.
Um, oh gosh, I just have so many chills running through my body.
There's some truth.
Yes. Empowering women, because from the dawn of time, women have been suppressed in many, many ways. And even today, and even what's happening in the world around, there's a part of consciousness that still wants to suppress women.
Mm-hmm.
And when women come into power and know who they are and bring forth their love and their passion in the world, I mean, if you can imagine a grid with, I don't know how many women are on the planet. I know we're supposed to have like 6 billion in population, 8 billion, something like that on the planet. The number of women, even if it was 1/3 to 1/2, I don't know the numbers. If
Mm-hmm.
you would imagine on that grid, little pyramids on the grid, and at the top of the pyramid, there's lights all over in the pyramid, like Christmas tree lights.
Yeah.
But when you become empowered in yourself, that's when that star shines,
Mm-hmm.
like on a Christmas tree.
Oh,
And if you can imagine a whole grid of women lighting up, that's what I see, with the love and the compassion and the beauty and the knowledge, the wisdom that women carry,
mm.
and allowing that to be free. What would the world look like?
That is a good question for our listeners to ponder. What would the world look like if women's wisdom was allowed to be free? It's pretty powerful. I feel like I want to cry. Um, I'd,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to think there'd be a lot more softness and a lot more compassion, not just for women, but for each other, for
Exactly.
children, for people's different stations in life, for the choices that we've made when we are unconscious, all the things. It's a beautiful question.
Yes. And that's another reason why I believe community is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because as women in the workplace, especially, we we're not taught, we're not geared to help each other
Yeah.
in the workplace, in the educational and corporate worlds.
Right. Well, if we can keep women divided from each other, keep women divided from men and from each other, we can control them. That divisiveness allows for the lack of coherence of what really wants to come through. Right. So I think you're a beautiful bright light doing some amazing work in the world. I hope that it will reach the people and the women that it's meant to reach, this message, and that the right people find you to work with you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Before we wrap in a couple of minutes, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners or viewers about your work or anything that we've touched on, or creativity? Or...
Well, I do have a gift.
All right. What is your gift for our people?
I do have a gift. Right now, I don't have a landing page for it. So I'm sure in the comments below, you have my email.
I do.
So email me, and there's two things. One of them is a mini throwdown paint kit,
Oh, cool.
which it takes you through an exercise of throwing down paint, but it doesn't have to be paint. It could be whatever you have around the house. I mean, it could be Crayolas, it could be pens, pencils, it can be charcoal, it could be mustard.
Easy medium.
Mustard and ketchup. I don't know. I have painted with coffee. So
Oh,
uh,
cool. Very nice.
and the other one is 10 sacred ways to receive guidance.
Hmm.
That takes you to a place where you could start to hear the whispers. Those are two gifts I am so excited to present to your audience.
That's awesome. And they can email you for that at
Deborah Baker 1211 at gmail.com.
awesome. Deborah Baker 1211 at gmail.com. And where else can people find you? I will have the links that you shared with me in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or in the show notes elsewhere. If you'd like to share where people can find you or your beautiful work.
Sure. I have a gallery of my paintings, and that's Deborah Ann Baker.pixels.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Just search my name and you'll find me.
Awesome. I love that. And you can look in the comments below. We will also have the links for you to reach out to Deborah if she resonates with you. I've enjoyed speaking with you so much. I feel like this soul to soul connection, the inspiration. Maybe I will pick up the paintbrush again or more frequently. Thank you for that. It's really lovely. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners about anything else, or leave them with a tip on how they can tap into their creativity? Get Deborah's kit for sure. Is there one thing that you might invite people to start with if they've been so resistant or really truly feel like, oh, I'm not creative and this is not for me?
Just do it. Just do it. Cross the line.
Do it.
Cross the line. Even if you have to physically draw a little line and step over it.
Ooh,
Give yourself permission to be who you truly are.
I love that. Well, my friends, you have heard that from Deborah. Really, truly, that invitation to give yourself permission to be who you truly are. You, your family, your loved ones, and the world will benefit if we all step into that. So, Deborah, thank you so much again for being here, sharing your wisdom, your spirit, your art. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. We do appreciate your time, your energy, your presence. Leave us a comment below if you've gotten anything out of this. If you've ordered the kit and tried it, we would love to know what you got out of it. And we will see you here next time. Bye-bye for now.